Is it time for some kick-ass power metal? Absolutely, it's time for some kick-ass power metal. Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Belgian Jasper, and if you are new to the channel, click subscribe right now. I like power metal, and I also like to highlight Belgian metal, so I'm super excited that today I get to speak to Erwin from FIREFORCE, which is the leading Belgian power metal band. A lot of news is coming out of the FIREFORCE camp. I want to congratulate you on bringing on board Matt from Nightmare. I know that that you've known each other for quite some time. Matt has helped out FIREFORCE in the past. Can you maybe share a little bit, how you got to know Matt and what his role is going to be in FIREFORCE going forward?
Yeah, the first time I met Matt was when we played some shows with Nightmare and Crimson Glory. And that's when I acquainted with Matt, and he was a very nice guy. And he's a very old soul in a young body. What do I mean with that? he loves the old music that I love too, so that's super. And I like his life attitude and stuff like that, and we're really like this. So I think it's great. That's why I like him a lot. And the first time that we needed a spare guitar player, I called him and I asked him, Matt, do you? Yes, I want. All right. No problem.
So you can really feel a renewed energy already in the band?
He's very eager to play and to create, not for his ego, but really to create only for the music. It's the same with our drummer, Christoph, also a very young guy, the same age of Matt, by the way. And he also he wants to play and do more. So it's great. It's great to have members like that.
I think it's fair to say that FIREFORCE has been a little bit of a revolving door. Obviously Philippe was the singer in the band from, I think, day one. You and Philippe have been in projects together for quite some time. When he decided to part ways with the band, that must have been a tough moment for you and for the band. How did that go?
Yeah, it was really a tough moment because that decision came out of the blue. I was not aware of anything. Let's keep it this comment, that's it, because I don't want to go into a negative vibe, but it came out of the blue and I was not very pleased by it now.
You seem a lot more energized and feel like the band is stronger than ever before.
That's true. When everybody has the same drive, it's a pleasure to work at songs and at projects like video recordings and stuff like that, because when you have people who are pulling the cord to the other side, it's always hard and it's a negative vibe on your head, and you say, oh, let it be. But now it's super. We are now only 4 anymore,
Yeah.
Because Matt plays guitar and sings together, and it's fantastic because we all feel the need to create music, to go on stage, to play. We all feel very excited to go on stage with our new record. Yeah.
Before we look into the future, let's quickly go back into history for people that are new to FIREFORCE, that are new to yourself, and you're obviously not just one of the leading members in the band, but also responsible for a lot, if not all, of the music.
That's true.
FIREFORCE really kind of came out of Double Diamond. So I remember when I was young, in Antwerp and Scholten, where I grew up, it was possible to see Double Diamond play in the 90s. You guys were one of the driving power metal bands in those days. But at the end of the day, the 90s were not the best time for power metal. How do you look back to those early days?
We had not the chance to play a lot because nobody was interested in power metal at those times. We played a lot at motorcycle clubs, events, something like that. But we played a lot of cover songs, of course, and only not that much own songs. And that's a problem because in that days I wanted to create my own music, but it was not possible to bring it out. It was not possible. So we played the gigs at the motorcycle clubs. We played 75% covers and 25% of our own music. But I like to play a cover song once in a while, but I'm not satisfied by it. I really need to create things myself and have the audience react to my own music.
that band was actually from where I grew up. How I discovered Double Diamond back in the day was actually because as a young teenager, I was a big Gamma Ray fan, and they had albums made, with artwork made by Philippe, and you guys had artwork from Philippe, and that's kind of how I was introduced to the band. On your first album, you had this beautiful Egyptian-themed artwork.
Yeah.
It also featured the song Anubis, and I think you guys re-recorded Anubis with FIREFORCE.
This night I'm dying. This night I'm entering hell. Egypt, my land. I'm never gonna walk.
And then in the meantime, you've written songs for FIREFORCE about Horus and Sekhmet. Where does this fascination with Egypt comes from?
Yeah, it started in my youth, to be honest. I was fascinated by the fact that there were human beings, but with heads of animals. I really was fascinated by that fact. I even made in 2012, I made my honeymoon to Egypt. When I wrote Anubis, I had already ideas for the two next songs, Horus and Sekhmet.
Yeah.
But it never took place that I wrote them in the Double Diamond days. That's not exactly true, because Horus was written in the last days of Double Diamond. So in fact, Horus is a Double Diamond song. I was thinking in FIREFORCE, I was thinking okay, let's use Horus. And afterwards I said, okay, now I need to write Sekhmet. And when I do that, I really need to take Anubis again, because I need the trilogy in the same band. And that's why I re-recorded it.
Have you ever played with the idea of making a full concept album about ancient Egypt or the gods?
No, I did not. And it's because I'm not extremely fond about concept albums. Music has to be something that takes you to a place for 4 or 5 minutes and take you to another place. And it's okay for 3 songs or something like that. But then you got a whole album only about the same stuff. I'm losing sometimes my focus on that. So
yeah. Nevertheless, there is a clear theme in a lot of the FIREFORCE material. FIREFORCE doesn't shy away from the name or the label combat metal.
Combat metal!
Combat metal as a term, I think it's been used for as long as metal has been around, but it seems that most people now kind of agree that combat metal is either power or pretty mainstream death metal that talks about war. I'm thinking about Sabaton recently, Tank in the 80s. Hail of Bullets is another one that I'm thinking of. Where does that fascination come from, or is it just something that lends itself really well to heavy metal?
You have to blame my late father for that, because he was very into history. And he had lots and lots of books about history in his library, and I read them all, I think. And he was interested in all kinds of stuff from Second World War, First World War, the Middle Ages. And so I learned a lot from him. Another fact was that my father disliked football and cycling, so that never came on our TV at our place. So I was spared from that. So I could focus completely on the history stuff. And that's still the same with me. When we go to play a show, the first thing I'm going to do is take Google Maps, and look, what can we see in the neighborhood of the gig? That's historical interesting. So it could be a small bunker, a fortress, a battlefield. I don't care. If it's something I can learn from, and maybe inspiration for a new song.
Is that also the origin of the name FIREFORCE? Where does the name come from?
When I was thinking about quitting Double Diamond, I went with my longtime friend Eric, our chief roadie, like we call him. So we call him also Obelix, because he's one. So with Eric, I went to Amsterdam to see Firewind. And Eric knew the guys from Firewind already. And after the show, we went to a restaurant and we had some dinner there. And I was talking with Apollo and Eric about quitting Double Diamond and maybe starting something new. And then we talked about the Firewind and the Dragon Force tour. And we talked about some names from those two bands, so like Fire Dragon and something like that. And I said at one moment, to connect the names, I said, yeah, FIREFORCE would be cool. And Apollo, he looked at me and said, yeah, that sounds a very cool name. So at that moment, I knew when I quit Double Diamond, my new band would be FIREFORCE.
A new album is coming, clearly. What can you tell us?
A new album on the new label, so that's very important. On the Rock of Angels Records, we'll bring our new album out in January next year. The right date I cannot tell, otherwise I have to kill you.
Preferably not.
But we recorded the drums and the guitars in Belgium in the studio, and we recorded the vocals in Germany for Matt. It was his first experience in the studio as a vocalist for a metal band, really. And Matt recorded his solos and the melody lines for the album in France at his own studio. And by the way, the cover is drawn again by Philippe, the guy who also drew this
Iron Brigade.
Eric is also already, you know it, from the In Danger album from Double Diamond from 1997. He's already a good friend of me, and he has a very good ideas. When I say, hey, I need this stuff to make a cover from, he will do, all right, just a moment. Poof, and he made it. Are you acquainted with the Conquer with Steel album from Double Diamond, the EP?
Yeah.
So that cover, I drew it first on a piece of paper, like a knight, just two pieces of yeah. I need this one and a drawbridge and yeah, something like that. I sent it to him and I said, Eric, I need something like that. And so after he stopped laughing, he drew the good picture. When I would not be into metal, it would be idiotic to only create music to be popular or something like that. But I'm really into metal. For me, metal all the way. So I could not imagine what I would do without metal. No, I would die, I think. I need it.
I can attest to that because I'm pretty sure that when I was exploring metal for the first time in the late 90s, I think that to every show that I went to in Antwerp, I'm pretty sure there was a very strong, big, curly-haired guy from Double Diamond in the corner somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. I really
different one.
A lot of shows.
On the Iron Brigade, that was also a moment where you had a couple of new people, or at least also new vocals. And that resulted in a slightly different sound. How is that with the new people in the band now?
I really think you get what you expect from FIREFORCE, from FIREFORCE, and the stuff Matt does, for example, is of course his voice is completely different than what we had before, but he really fits in with the music, and so you get the same whatever but better.
Another person that was an icon in Belgian metal is Philippe, aka Wiz. He unfortunately passed away, but before he passed away, he sang as a guest singer on a song by the song called "Carry On," and the lyrics of that song are actually, even more meaningful. Now, after everything that has happened, and that's a song by Beyond the Labyrinth. You also played a guest guitar on that song. That must have been a pretty substantial experience for you to play on that record.
That was really, because I knew Wiz. We talked a lot through chat. I considered him really as a friend because we chatted a lot about when we had some problems in our bands, with Wizard or in FIREFORCE, and we chatted a lot of them with each other, and we Wiz will do that, and we say something like that. But no, really, it was a very cool, friendly person. I never met somebody like him, to be honest. He was that friendly. So The moment I played that song, that guitarist in the studio, and I heard him sing, at that moment he was already, he died already. So
Yeah.
I had really tears in my eyes. It was a really hard thing to do, because when I play that, every time when I heard his voice at the song, when I was playing the riffing, I realized that a really beautiful person was gone, and he would never be back. And I really miss him.
Yeah.
And that's why we should always remember him. So
Yourself and Wiz and some others, come from the late 80s and 90s scene as Belgian metal was still very underground but growing. If we fast forward to today, very different situation. I mean, metal obviously in Belgium, like most countries, is still considered underground music, but there are an astonishing amount of new bands coming out. You've been on the journey for quite some time. What would be the key advice to all these bands that are coming out now that you would give them?
Never give up. Don't care what other people say, because in my time when I played with Double Diamond and now with FIREFORCE, all the problems we had, there were a lot of people coming to me and saying, Erwin, why don't you just give up and stop it? No way! Nobody will say to me when I have to stop. The only time I will stop is when I'm dead, or when my body says, Erwin, stop it, you can't do it anymore. But no, never let somebody tell you that your dream has to stop. It doesn't matter how young or how old you are. When you have a dream, keep on living it and keep on dreaming it and work for it. But no, let ever somebody say to you, stop this. No way. That's the only thing I can say.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a pretty good and solid piece of advice for anybody getting started in Belgium right now. All right, so to recap, new album is ready to go, and we can expect that at the start of 2021. Hopefully we can all see shows again soon, and then everybody can start to get to know the new lineup of FIREFORCE and all the new songs. Thank you so much
for this interview, and I really like it that you want to do that for the Canadian audience.
There you go. Awesome.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.